Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 7th day of June, 2022, Tuesday of the 10th week of the year. Again, just a reminder, as we descend from the heights of Easter all this week and into the weeks that follow, we move back into the counting of the number of weeks in our summer and winter ordinary, or summer and fall ordinary time. So this is week 10. We left in week 8 into the season of Lent and then Easter, and now we come back into the ordinary time at week 10. That means there are 24 weeks, according to our church calendar, until the end of our liturgical year, and then the beginning of Advent and looking forward to 2023. So think about all of that together. But coming to you this morning from our courtyard here at the Franciscan School, where we have just completed, and the sun has been in my eyes, we just completed morning prayer on this morning, which is a little bit okay, but it's going to get hot again. But this was a very special morning prayer because this was the last morning prayer here in the courtyard for our 2021-2022 academic year. It was also the last morning prayer at which Mike Watson, our principal, will participate as principal of the Franciscan School as he moves into retirement. So it is a bittersweet. It was a bittersweet morning prayer, being the last one for him as principal, and the last one for us as we move towards the end of the school year, which will end tomorrow with community mass, a half day, and then summer blooms abundantly after our half day here at the Franciscan School. But as we move into ordinary time proper now, after yesterday's special readings for Mary, Mother of the Church, we come to the first reading from the Old Testament. We left on in the 8th week before Ash Wednesday with the first letter of Peter. So from the New Testament back to the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, we are in the Book of Kings, and we hear the story, or we pick up the story of Elijah, the prophet, who is being pursued by people who do not like what he has to say, and so he's trying to hide, but he's hiding in a land in which a famine has happened, and there's no rain, and it's been a very dry and unhealthy place to live, and so basically the situation is kind of dire for him, and he is told basically to go to Zarephath, to visit a widow who will provide for him. And he goes and tries to find the widow. He does. And she says that she would love to provide for him, but she only has flour and meal for one last meal for her and her son, which they will eat, and then they will die. So, and Elijah basically says to him, or says to the widow, if you make me this cake, or if you provide for me, then you will not have, you will never lack in flour, being able to feed you and your son. So that is what the widow does, and the flour never ever goes dry. The thing about it is that it's a question of trust. It's a question of being able to trust not only God, but really each other, because that is the other side of our ability to, and everybody is coming in from changing classes, and so I have to move over here. But how do we trust, and who do we trust is the big question. Do we just trust in ourselves? Do we just trust in God that everything's going to be well, or do we see God at work through the trust that we show one another, and the ability that we have to work with one another, help one another, and what that can reveal to us of the miraculous, of the wonderful, of those kinds of things that we might not think are possible. This widow who doesn't know anything about Elijah and doesn't know who he is, trusts in what he has to say, and her life is made better for it, and the life of her son is made better for it. Trusting in each other when we are trying to give each other what is best and what is good is another sign of God at work in our world. Another sign, again, of the resurrection that continues to be at work in our lives. With this reading, again, we don't have a connection to the gospel, but the gospel is from Matthew, and Matthew, I think it is, but it's about being light of the world and salt of the earth. Again, another appropriate metaphor for those of us who dare to believe. Resurrection has given us, Easter has given us the ability to be both salt and light in this world, just by being who and what we are meant to be truly and honestly and sincerely, because it is how God created us to be. It doesn't come to just the special people, it doesn't come to just the most holy, most pious, most devout among us. It is each of our responsibilities as believers in this world to bring light, to bring flavor, to bring joy, to bring happiness, to bring whatever it is that we can bring it to others in this world. Again, it stems out of trust, but it also stems out of our relationship and our love and the way we are able to respect and care for one another. That is our greatest gift as believers to this world. It is also our greatest challenge to remember and to believe that. As we move into the weeks of ordinary time, remembering Easter, remember what it is that God has promised to do with and for us by sending and giving us the Spirit. May that give us the courage and the strength to always be salt and light and trust in this world. And may the Lord give you his peace.